Hello everyone, this is Dan Moore coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, here at the Innovative Percussion Studios and Laboratories, where the alchemists, the mallet alchemists here at Innovative Percussion do their magic. And it is really nothing short of magic, because it's just great to work with the guys here, because I can speak in musical terms with everybody that works here, because they are musicians. They understand the kind of things that we're all trying to go through to get that sound and make the music that you want to make. And that's really the brilliant part about Innovative Percussion. They can translate that then into the raw materials that combine to make the Dan Moore mallets and all the mallets that they make. From mallet to mallet, it's very consistent, and if you buy a mallet in your local music store, it's going to sound the same as one you'd get in from a big music store somewhere. Well, I think every musician, every artist has an idea of how they want to sound, how they want to present themselves musically. What my mallet line does for me is it gives me the warmth that I always listen for in a marimba player or a vibes player. I always want to hear a really good tone. I don't like a lot of harshness, and so I think that these mallets have really helped me to be expressive over a range of dynamics and over a range of styles in a very nice way, but at the same time keeping my aesthetic, a rich tone, a nice tone quality, and that beautiful kind of bel canto sound. The series follows the Innovative Percussion concept of lower numbers being softer mallets and higher numbers being harder mallets. Within that, for me though, I think what is most interesting about the mallets is that they all have sort of different personalities. They help me think of music in different kinds of ways. If I pick up the DM21s, I play differently and I play different kinds of things than if I pick up the DM31s. And I think for me, that is the musical catalyst that you need sometimes. It's the difference between inspiration and perspiration sometimes, I think. So for me, each of these mallets is kind of like a child to me. It's sort of like they have their own personality, they have their own kind of feeling that they put across. The DM18 is one of my favorite mallets. It's called the Deep Marimba, the DM18, white tape. It has a very rich, round, fruity, fundamental tone that you can use it for everything from percussion ensemble, bass marimba type things, for ragtime marimba bands, special effects on the vibraphone. It's really a very powerful mallet. It has a very tight and focused fundamental sound without having that big saturation. And for me, a lot of bass marimba mallets, and I didn't want to call these bass marimba mallets actually. That's why I came up with the idea of the deep marimba. The deep marimba, it just has a very deep, round sound without having that saturation. And if you think about typical sort of bass marimba mallets with a big rubber core and it's very saturated sound, this is more of a focus sound but with a lot of tone and fundamental and without playing too hard. People generally use the DM18s in pairs rather than in sets of 4. Sometimes I'll use one DM18 out in the #1 mallet there, and then the rest are maybe a little different. The next one up is the DM21, and the DM21 is kind of what started all the magic. Originally we started with the DM20, was the first mallet that I had with Innovative Percussion, and we went with that for a long, long time, and worked hard to get that beautiful and what I call the bel canto marimba sound. And the DM21 has tightened the focus just a little bit more. It still has that same fundamental tone, but just has a little bit more of a focused sound. Now you may hear me using the term focused sound, tighter or looser type of sound, because I don't like to think of mallets in terms of being harder or softer. I like to think of them as being a more focused sound, or maybe a little bit looser sound, a broader sound. So the DM21 is just, if you really want it to sound beautiful and on the vibes and or the marimba, and I use it on the marimba quite a lot. The marimba can just sound achingly beautiful. It can be just such a beautiful sound. If you hear somebody playing Bach on the marimba, it can make you cry. It's just a beautiful sound, and I think the DM21s can really help bring out that emotion. And for me, that's what music is about. It's sound and emotion. The next one you go up to is the DM26. The DM26, again, it becomes a little tighter, a little more focused sound on the vibes and the marimba. And it is a vibes marimba mallet, as are all of the DM mallets. call it a comfort mallet. I'm very comfortable. I pick this mallet up and I can work on technique and do my arpeggios and do my scales and really have a nice, warm kind of feel. If you're familiar with other innovative percussion products like the IP240, which is the Birch handle mallet, that's the mallet that I use with my students to just work on your technique. You're not going to be hitting the marimba too hard. It's not going to be brittle. You can put some weight behind it and really work out. And the rattan handle, the DM26, kind of serves that purpose for me. It's really a great multi-purpose mallet. Then it gets really fun. You get into the DM28, and the DM28 is called the Jazz Mallet, and it has that very tight, focused jazz sound, but it still has what I like to think of as sort of a very fruity tone to it. It's a really good fundamental tone, and with just enough articulation to get through a softer ensemble. You might use it on the vibraphone for solo vibraphone playing, or you might use it in some combo settings where it's not too loud. And then up we go to the DM31, which is kind of the brightest sound, and it's going to have that zingy, very classic Milt Jackson, old school sort of jazz vibraphone sound. You can use that in a front ensemble if you really want to have some articulation and really get those mallet parts on the top to pop out, or in percussion ensemble. The DM31 is going to really help you make that sound. So for me, one of the coolest things about the DM line is that they are designed to have a very consistent tone all the way across the series. So from the 18 to the 31, you're still going to get a very warm, round, fundamental tone, lots of tone and lots of fundamental, but the basic sound is going to be the same. So one of the cool things that you can do with that is you can do mallet grading, which is basically choosing the right mallet to play depending on sort of what octave you're in. And there are bunches of different configurations that you can use that can be very successful and be very helpful. In this example, I'm using 3 DM21s, and on the outside I'm using a DM18. And when I play bass notes out here with this mallet, you can hear that it's going to have a little bit more sustain, a little bit more projection, and then a little bit more articulation as you go up into the 21s. So that's the sort of the personalities of the DM line. What are you doing? Let's try that again. Oh, you guys are cracking me up.